Good evening. I'm going to talk about our experience from the Guadalinex project in our relationships with open source community and our own users community. First of all, some figures about Andalusia, to put things in context. Guadalinex. What is Guadalinex? Guadalinex is our Linux distribution for the promotion of free software in our region. We made our own distribution for historical reasons. At the time we began making distros, there was Debian, and Debian was not friendly at all. Later we have found some advantages. We have some added value, and we have not renounced to our distro, even if it's not so necessary to have a more friendly Linux distribution. And now it's based on Ubuntu, and it's daily used in more than 300,000 desktops in more than 2,000 public schools. And our goal is to reach a ratio of 2 students per computer that would be more than 700,000 desktops in more than 4,000 schools. Coming soon is a big deployment of laptop computers, netbooks, for students that will be using Guadalinex. Those laptops will be integrated in the school network in the morning, and in the afternoon will be in the students' homes for they to continue the use of this tool. We have a mandate of our regional regulations that schools, public schools and public internet access centers should use free software. So 764 public cyber centers are using Guadalinex for more than 450,000 registered users. And there are also public access internet access centers in public libraries, a center for the elderly people, and some more. What else is Guadalinex? Guadalinex is a website with all those services for our users community that amounts 42,000 registered users. We have distributed more than 1 million copies since 2003, and along 6 different versions of the distribution. Of course, Guadalinex is a cute penguin. Why do we need the communities? Or better, what do we need communities for? Well, we need a job to be done. If sometimes it's software development, sometimes not, but we usually do this job with our own means or by contracting a company by a public tender. And once the job is done, we want it to be integrated in the upstream project in order to ease the maintenance and reduce cost, to receive third-party improvements, and to achieve a certain critical mass around our development and keep the wheel turning and gain in the process all that have said. We see that there is a collision between 2 different ways of doing things. The administration way is what we are used to and what we are doing every day. We make public tenders with closer terms, budgets, timeline, requirements, etc. We have a long time from the idea, from the time we perceive the need of new functionality of the new application and to the time when we materialize our idea in a contract with a company and then start the development. We are too much used, I mean in the administration, to close a development model. When we only reach our goal, touch our code when it is finished. We have economic requirements that sometimes are too hard to meet for the small or medium companies that are the most efficient companies or kind of company in the world of free software. We used to value the proposals to public tenders in terms of financial or workforce capacity. And most typical contractors, big consulting companies, are completely alien to open source software and its development model ways. On the other hand, the community way is quite different. There's an open development model. Code is available from very early stages of development. Contributions are accepted upon functionality or of interest. If you get something interesting for the people that lead the community, the project, you can get your software accepted. Opportunity. If you hit a goal that is in the project roadmap, you get accepted. There are their own deadlines for the project, and you must meet them. You can or cannot fulfill the needs of the project in a certain moment. The code is analyzed by terms of quality and style. Style is something difficult to define, but if you don't have the proper style, you probably don't get your code accepted by the upstream project. It's very important the person you try to get in touch in order to get your software accepted. It depends a lot of person-to-person contacts, and to get your code accepted is a matter of trust. And reliability is measured in very different terms, in terms of meritocracy, personal leadership of the proposer of the code, and its recognized hacking abilities. I want to talk about two different scenarios. Guadalinex as a user community is one of them. Our goals are spread the knowledge about free software and Guadalinex in particular, provide support to users, and of course improve Guadalinex in every version. We are mandated by our regional regulations to provide support to users. Our resources are forums that are moderated because the posting has particular relevance, as many people believe that the posting are subscribed by the government, so there is a great need of moderation. Recipes that sometimes are extracted from postings on the forum and formatted and tidied up and converted into small how-tos. Official support that is given through the book tracking system in the website. We organize a yearly Guadalinex User Summit in order to receive the input from the user community and suggestions for the next version. We also deliver materials For activists, activists are plain users, are schools, are teachers on their own, are cyber centers, and they organize events and conferences and courses and other actions to spread the knowledge on free software. And we act as an interface between the end user that normally doesn't speak English and the upstream project that need to be talked to in English. Guadalinex as a developer, why do we develop software? We want Guadalinex to be a better Ubuntu than Ubuntu. Is Mark Satuo here? No. Well, I'll explain anyway. We want it to be a better Ubuntu for our user space. Our user base is mainly the plain user of a computer that doesn't know anything about IT. That is our target. Ubuntu probably is better for a person with a more technical background than our main user. And we develop software because our goals are out of the scope of known projects. If there is a known project, we simply use the software provided by them. What we need sometimes new application, and sometimes we need new functionality for existing applications. What do we want? We want upstream distribution or upstream developer to accept our software, our patches, or our applications. Cases in which we have developed software and tried to send it upstream. Well, the Linux installer is an improved version of the Ubuntu installer. Is more friendly, is more easy to use in the concrete area in which we are targeted. And it was the original base of the actual Ubuntu installer. We made a handler for the apt URLs in order to install software packages from the official repository, from the configure repository, by means of only a click in a browser. We made a migration assistant in order to move and to transform formats from the data in a Windows environment to our Linux distribution. We have developed a pluggable hardware notification assistant, and it's able to take some actions upon the plugging of certain software. It was needed 2-3 years ago, and now I think it still is an added value. We made quality voices in Spanish for Festival Synthesis engine, because the voice that is provided by Festival is very low quality, and now it's being used in screen readers for the blind people, and it has been used for another official project in order to make a voice for Festival Lite and use it in accessible terrestrial digital television sets. Moonsos Sistrai is another project we have made, and difficulties we have found. We have found difficulties in integrating our code in projects due to the data line established in the project, due to our functionality was interesting, but the roadmap of the project was different. Priorities. There were priorities in the project that didn't match with the integration of our proposed software. Sometimes we didn't meet exactly the policies of the project about accepting software. Lack of trust. They simply didn't know us, but we found people that a person that could act as a bridge between our government and the project, we got trusted, we got our software accepted. Sometimes the problem is overlapping functionality. We have functionality that is very interesting for us, but it overlaps with another functionality that is going to or is being developed in the project. Similar ongoing project is very much the same, and problems of public communication of our goals and solutions. First of all, internationalize your project in order to have it easily translated to English and to other languages. Use the upstream forge. It's very important to start your development and show the code from the very beginning to the upstream project. Publish the code, the specification, documents, roadmap as soon as possible and in English. This is not quite usual in Spain, but the fact is that if you don't publish in English, you don't exist. Adapt as much as possible to upstream life cycle. And in public tenders, require or rate proposals by proven relationships and contributions to open source software projects. Validate or rate the proposed actions and resources to integrate in upstream projects, and again, internationalize. Conclusions. We know that the work could be better done by well-known hackers, but we are not able to include this requirement in our public tenders. We need a new kind, a new breed of companies that can fulfill the traditionals, the economics, and the paperwork requirements of the administration, that understand the open source community way, then have good relations with the communities implied in the project, and that are able and willing to subcontract specific tasks that are key to the to the achievement of the development with another more qualified persons or companies. And we need some clear ways to evaluate the so much needed in some cases hacker value of the proposals that we receive for our tenders. That's all.